Good afternoon, guys. My name is Professor Nikhil Varma, and today we are going to discuss the second module of retail management, which is retail developments and formats in retailing. So, firstly, let us see what are those things that we are going to cover under this module. We are going to first look at the theories that have come up which explain us how retail developments take place. We have three theories essentially which define as to how retail development might happen in a given environment. Okay, it might differ from location to location and scenario to scenario, but one of these theories will apply to a particular type of retail development that takes place. We are going to look at the classifications first. After that, we are going to look at organized and unorganized retailing. This is going to be covered in the next video, not today. Today, we are only going to cover classification of theories of retail developments. So once we are done covering organized and unorganized retailing, we are going to look at traditional retail formats only, where we are going to see how retailing happened traditionally. We are going to look at the various formats that are covered under traditional retail formats. Then we are going to look at those reasons which led to the emergence of modern retail formats. We are going to study the reasons first, and then we are going to study the modern retail formats in detail. Once we are done studying modern retail formats, we are going to focus on service retailing, which will be the last part of this module. Let us now move on to classification of theories of retail development. Basically, like I told you guys some time back, that the retail development theories are classified into three parts. The first theory that we have is the environmental theory. What does this environmental theory suggest? It says that the change in retail is attributed to change in the environment in which the retailers operate. So what this suggests is, with change in the environment, there will be a change in retail. I mean, there will be some kind of development in retailing depending on change in the environment. Now, what is that environment that we are going to talk about? The environment is mostly made up of customers, competitors, and technology, and definitely the retailer that will be there. This is the first theory. We are going to study it in detail in the next slide. I'm sorry. But before we study that in detail, let us look at the second type of theory, which is cyclical theory. What does this theory suggest? This theory says that every retailer follows a pattern and has to pass through different phases of development, which are definitely identifiable attributes which are associated with them. This theory says that every retailer will have to go through a particular phase in the same manner, in an identifiable manner. We are going to study this theory in the next few slides as well. The last theory that we have is conflictual theory. This theory suggests that because of emergence of two opposite types of retailing in the market, it leads to conflicts, and then a new format will come up because of those conflicts. This is what it says. So now first let us look at environmental theory. See, an environment or retail environment is made up of the retailer, customers, competitors, and change in technology. Any change in one of these, any change in the customers, type of customers that come, or change in the type of competitors that have come up, or in the change in technology, can lead to a retail development. Take a look at Belgium as example. If you went back 10 years, thought about things in early 2000s or late 2000s for that matter, nobody spoke about brands, or people were not brand conscious as much as we people are today. That means retailing was a different ball game altogether 15-20 years back, 10 years back, and it's a different ball game today. That means retailing has developed. Earlier we did not have shopping malls, neither did we have a multiplex. But these days you see we have Inox, we have so many varieties of, we have Nucleus Mall as well. All right. Then we have DMart, we have Big Bazaar, then we have more, Reliance Smart, Reliance Trends. The list just goes on and on. All these things are not here in Belgium 10 years, 15 years back. That means retailing was a different concept altogether back then, and now it has changed drastically. Why has it changed? It has changed because of change in the customers, change in competitors, and change in technology. All have changed. You now see, apart from all these things, retailing happens on Amazon and Flipkart too. How many years has it been that you have heard about Amazon and Flipkart? 7 years, 8 years, 10 years maximum? That means this theory suggests that there is a change or there is a development in retailing which is attributed to either a change in the pattern of customers or entrance of new competitors, or when a new technology has been introduced. Technological advancements have happened as well in retailing. That is why you see Amazon's, Flipkart, ShopClues, Snapdeals and all come up. Competitors, yes, more and more competitors have come up. That is why you see DMart, Big Bazaar and more and all these things coming up to compete in the same sector. And change in the pattern of customer behavior too. Earlier, we were not that brand conscious as how we are today. So there has been a change in customer behavior too. So here they have mentioned that any one of these entity can change. That is, the shopping mentality of customers might change, or a new competitor might enter, or a technology might come up which might disrupt the market. Either of these three things can impact. But you see, in the past 10-15 years, all three things have happened. So now what will this do? This will then alter the profitability of retailers. It might help a particular category of retailer, or it might help all the retailers. You don't know what is going to happen. Technology has helped a particular set of retailers only. It has not helped everybody. It has only helped a particular category. That is, introduction of technology has certainly helped these big shopping malls, because inventory management has taken big leaps and bounces with the help of technology. Big shopping malls and complexes, departmental stores are now able to manage their store very well thanks to technology. Apart from that, you see Amazon and Flipkart benefiting, two biggest e-tailers that have benefited out of technology. There are others too, but these are two big players who have benefited a lot. So thus, the birth, success and decline of different forms of retail enterprises is many a times attributed to the business environment. People who don't adapt to the business environment usually falter. People who adapt to the business environment, changing business environment, keep growing leaps and bounces. Okay, I hope you guys have understood this theory. Then moving on to cyclical theory. This theory is also known as the wheel of retailing theory. What this theory suggests is that every business develops in a particular pattern. There is a fixed pattern. What is that pattern? Early retail innovators first often appear as low price operators. Take your own example. Assume that you want to start any business. How are you going to start it? Majority of the population is going to think that, let me first start small from my house. I'm going to see if there is demand for my business, depending on what type of business you do. Obviously, it doesn't apply to all sorts of business. That is why it's a theory. It is not practically applicable to all the types of businesses that you want to do. You might think now saying, sir, mera to idea aisa hai, ye main ghar se nahi kar sakta. Fine. There will be exceptions in every case. But I can take example of my friends who have started business like this. They have started as low price operators. My own brother started off like this. He started operating from his house. He started procuring dress materials from local stores and then started selling it in the evening time when he was free, when he came back from his work. So he saw that there was a demand. All right, there was huge demand for him. Then what he started to do, he started procuring products directly from suppliers who were supplying from different towns like Bangalore, Hyderabad, Gujarat, many places from Gujarat, in fact. Ahmedabad, Surat, then we go more northwest, we went to Rajasthan, started importing from there. So we started procuring materials and supplying from the house itself. We were still operating as low price operators and low cost structure because we didn't have to rent any place. We were doing it part time. the profit margins also were low, and we were giving some real advantages to our customers. And since we saw that the business is growing, what we did then, we thought of taking a facility on rent. See, now we are changing. We are changing the pattern of our business. Earlier we were operating as low price operators who were doing part time in the evenings. Now what we are thinking, since we have huge demand, we are going to now take a separate facility for doing this business. Since we take a separate facility, we will have to add more stock, more variety, so that more people come to us. That means we'll have to increase our variety more. Earlier we were doing only limited patterns. Now we have to increase the offerings that we give. We have to give a greater range of offerings to our customers. And since we acquire an expensive facility, we have to pay more rent. Since we are procuring more variety of materials, we have to spend more money there procuring those. That means we cannot do business how we did until now. We have to change the way we do business. We have to then increase the profit margin. We cannot operate as low price operators anymore. All those things come in. So see that there is a change. Earlier we were operating as low price operators from the house itself. Then we moved on. We took an expensive facility, and we started procuring more materials from different distributors and kept more variety. And once we establish our business in that as well, then we will think of doing franchising. Let's just take an example that I think that okay, this business is set up in Belgaum. Now let me look at Hubli, or let me look at Khanapur, or let me look at Dharwad, Londa, or Gokak for that matter. Any one near place that is in close proximity, we're going to target that place, looking at it strategically, making sure that supply is not going to affect us more, and all those things will come into picture. And we are again going to look at establishing our business in different cities slowly. So this cycle is what this theory talks about, that every retailer or that retail innovator has to go through this cycle, which is identical for everyone. This is what this theory suggests. The last theory that we have is conflictual theory. This theory works on this concept called thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. What this theory suggests is that there are two different formats of retailers which are operating in a particular market, and a conflict arises between those two markets, and a third type of development takes place because of that. Can we take an example? Definitely. Earlier, we had these traditional retailers selling on brick and mortar. That is, they had a shop, a physical existence, physical evidence, you can consider it. They were selling goods offline, that is, setting up a store physically. And then you see that nowadays people are doing business on WhatsApp, on Instagram, on Facebook, and selling on Amazon, OLX, even on Flipkart, signed up on Flipkart and all. So you see a new format coming up, which is the online format. See, two different operators operating in a particular market. One is offline and one is online. What this is going to do, since a conflict will arise in these two, and people who are innovators are going to try to disrupt the market by coming up with a third category. So what this theory suggests is that because of the conflict that arises amongst these two different formats, a third format is going to come up. What is that third format that has come up recently? I can take one example. Lenskart is an example. Earlier, Lenskart was functioning as only online service provider or online retailer rather, wherein you could browse for any type of lens and frames that you wanted, and you could place an order. Now they found an opportunity and they innovated. They were the early innovators for the third format, which is brick and mortar and online. Now what you can do is you can visit Lenskart stores, that is brick and mortar stores, and then you can browse a particular set of frames. You can see certain types of frames there, but while placing order, you have to place it online itself. But who is going to do it for you? The person who is assisting you in selecting the frames is going to place the order for you. That means it's a combination of offline and online, a hybrid model that has come up. This is exactly what this theory says. It says that because of two different types of formats that are existing in a particular market, a third format can come up because of the conflicts that arise between these two formats. I hope you guys have understood this theory as well. So, like I was telling you, this theory works on the basis of thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. Thesis here is the offline store that we are talking about. Antithesis is exactly opposite of the thesis. So the online stores, online retailers, and synthesis is the blending of thesis and antithesis. So Lenskart, the latest example that I gave you about Lenskart is nothing but the synthesis. Thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. So I hope guys I have been able to explain to you how the retail development can take place in either of the formats. That is it for today's lecture. In the next video, we are going to cover unorganized retailing and organized retailing. Thank you so much guys.